guys, welcome back to the channel. It's Charlie from Streetman Disc Golf. Today's video is going to be a little bit different than normal. Today we're going to do something called Should You Bag It, where I talk about discs that are in my bag and why I think more people should throw them. The disc we're going to be talking about today is the Innova Thunderbird. The Innova Thunderbird is probably my favorite control driver. It is slightly overstable in some plastics, very overstable in other plastics, and can even be flippy in DX or Pro plastic. Personally, I bag 3 Thunderbirds. All of them are Champion, but they're all a little bit different. This Metal Flake Champion Thunderbird is probably the oldest and longest tenured discs in my bag. This factory second Champion Thunderbird is a little bit flippier, and this one, a pretty stock run Champion, is a bit more overstable than the other two. Now, let's see how these puppies fly.
First up, we're starting off with the stock Champion Thunderbird. As you can see, this disc tends to have a pretty overstable flight pattern. What I tend to use this disc for is those overstable, longer distance fairway shots, and those fairway shots where you need to get, 350 to 370, but you've got a pretty stiff headwind. It's not as beefy as a Firebird, and you can get a lot more flex out of it, but it'll definitely get the job done in a headwind. Next up is the factory second Champion Thunderbird. This one has a little bit less high-speed stability, but still retains the same end-of-flight fade. I think if I really lay into this one, I can get more glide and a little bit more distance than any of my other Thunderbirds. But because of that lack of high-speed stability, this disc does tend to get battered around by the wind a little bit more. But as you can see in these two shots here, it really does love to hold that turnover line for as long as it can. And if you keep it low, it doesn't really fade out much at all. Now this is my Metal Flake Champion Thunderbird. This disc really is incredibly straight. A little bit of turn at the start, a little bit of fade at the end, but overall it does go very straight. However, if you do throw a committed anhyzer, it will pretty much hold that angle all the way to the ground for some incredibly long, incredibly controlled turnover shots.
I bag the Thunderbird because I think it is the most versatile control driver on the market. I think you can throw big bomb hyzers, I think you can throw super long turnovers if you really commit to it, and you can throw some of the prettiest flexes in the game. I think the Thunderbird fits perfectly in the bag of any beginner, any intermediate player, and even the bags of the top level professionals. I want to talk about this Thunderbird specifically. It is the longest tenured disc in my bag because it is the most consistent and the most trustworthy driver I've ever thrown. I threw it when I was a beginner, when I was mostly throwing sidearm, and it worked for that. I throw it a lot now for long straight shots, and even shots that need to bend a little bit to the right. If you can find a Metal Flake Champion Thunderbird anywhere, eBay, any of the other sites where you can find a disc like this, do yourself a favor and get one. There's a reason that these things are in the bags of all the top Innova players. Nate Sexton, Big Germ, obviously. And even James Conrad, when he was Innova, he threw the heck out of these things. These discs are incredible, and you should definitely bag one.